to wrap it up, can you give us a quick story of something that you struggled with, or like an example of just like a scenario where you sucked at something, or like something bad happened to you and what you did to overcome it and then get better?
Coaching or just life stuff in general?
Take it to where you want to.
Okay, what did I suck at? Nothing.
Or like something something that happened that you had to like struggle through.
One thing that I really struggled with this past year, so I went to UBC to do my master's, and I interned there under Joe McCullum, Tavis Bruce, and Amanda Jones, who are 3 excellent coaches. And so learning from excellent coaches took me from slightly below average to where I am today, where I'll leave that judgment up to my athletes now. But I think one of the things that I really struggled with was the simplicity of programming. So going through as a young trainer, a young kid student, a young coach, like especially with, they always talk about like the internet age and Instagram and all these things, and there's all these different exercises that, oh, we need to be doing this, we need to be doing this, like, oh, this is so cool, let's do this. And so I really struggled with programming and just like, well, how do I fit like these 600 exercises into this 3-day program? Like, I just don't understand how we do this. And I had a really good conversation with Tavis the one day, and we kind of basically boiled it down to the fact that if you do the basics right, everything else kind of falls into place. So kind of going back to like the professionals do things professionally, they do the basics right. That's why like they don't spend a ton of time in the gym. They do the basics right and then they get out. So for example, if you front squat properly, perfectly, hopefully, that works on your ankle mobility, your hip mobility, your thoracic mobility to keep your arms up. It works on your leg strength. It also works on your anti-flexion by having to keep the bar up. And it works on your breathing by having to compress your diaphragm and keep all that tension in there. So with all that aspects, it's like, well, then do we really need to do this hip mobility drill or this ankle mobility drill or these other things? And so that was what I found with my programming over even the last like 6 months, was instead of like, we're doing all these extra correctives and we're doing all these extra things, which yes, are beneficial, but especially in the university setting when you've got 1 hour with the athletes because they've got to run off to class or practice or sleep or study or all these other things that they need to be doing, that stripping everything down into the basics is actually the best way to go. And so even coming here to Trinity, I've had a lot of athletes with my program be like, that's it? Like, what about this and that? And it's like, well, did you do that perfectly? Yeah. Then you're good. Like, you don't necessarily, unless you come and you actually have a specific need of like, hey, my shoulder is bugging me or my hips are bugging me. But that was one thing I really struggled with, was trying to decide like how to program and how to fit everything in, when through a lot of good conversations, a lot of good mentoring, and just a lot of looking at good strength training programs, because there are actually good ones out there, believe it or not, it's the simple things done savagely well. I can't remember who I'm stealing that off of, but anyway, simple things done savagely well is what gets you results. It's efficient because you're in and out quicker, it's effective, and it allows the athletes to have time to do the other things in their life, instead of spending more time with me, which is, yes, what I want, but also having to realize that as cool of a guy as I might be, like, athletes don't want to spend 6 hours a day with me. They have other things to do. And so that was a big struggle. I'm still struggling through it because we're still in the internet age. I still see things on, social media, and it's like, oh wow, if that worked for them, we should try that, or we should try this. But just realizing that, hey, like, relax, do the basics, we can build up from there, and it'll be okay.